Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another fun-filled video for you today. And today, I would like to revisit my discontinued Kershaw line. As many of you know, I started out collecting Kershaw knives, and, it's pretty much been the beginnings of my knife collecting. So the next few videos will be a series of discontinued Kershaw knives that have been around during the early years. We're talking the period between like 1998 all the way up to right around 2007. These were pretty much the Ken Onion years. These were the years where Ken Onion was their lead designer. So we're going to go ahead with it. I'll probably be doing or showcasing roughly 6 knives per video, so I don't know how many of these videos there'll be, but I'm going to try and limit it down to right around 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. The first Kershaw discontinued knife that I'm bringing out for you is pretty much an old staple piece. This is kind of like the beginnings of Ken Onion's career. And this one is called the Kershaw Avalanche. And this knife is a very rare version of the knife. It's uncoated. He made the knife right around 1998. I think this knife probably now as collectible, I'm guessing it would probably be right around 300, I'm guessing. Roughly. It's an uncoated blade. It's the rarest version of the knife. The knife comes in CPM 440V. It's got G10 scales. And this is pretty much the beginnings of the spring-assisted lineup. Like I said, this knife was made in 1998. That's pretty much when Ken Onion pretty much became the lead designer over there at Kershaw. He left in 2010 and joined CRKT. It was a very sad day for all of us because we did love Ken Onion making all the knives and some of the most legendary Kershaw knives like the Leak and the Blur. He just did really fantastic work, and when he left, it kind of like left a huge hole in Kershaw's lineup. So, but he was pretty much the beginnings of starting that. So this is the Kershaw Avalanche. It has a sort of like a liner lock knife with the traditional thumb stud. It's totally very traditional, very cylinder looking. We don't see that anymore on knives. So, Kershaw Avalanche. You run across this is a treasure. You won't be able to find many of these on eBay, especially one with the uncoated blade. All right, so there's the first one. Second one is another Ken Onion classic. This is the Kershaw Blur, but this is one in CPM 154 CPM, or CPM 154, excuse me. The model number of this one is 1670 Burnt Orange, BOR. So it's got a very heavily stone-washed blade on there. One of the most significant things about this knife is the design of the thumb stud. Because the thumb stud is your only means for opening the knife, one of the things that Ken Onion did was he angled the thumb studs to kind of go upward. So you have good purchase on it, on opening it. And since it's the only way to open the knife, nobody would have any trouble opening this. It's basically, you just hold the knife like so, and you don't even have to flick your thumb out. You just give it a slight release upward, and then it pops right out. So, Kershaw Blur. CPM 154, 1670 BOR for burnt orange. Really a rare piece, and hard to find, even on eBay. All right, next knife. Next one's a real weird knife. This is the Kershaw Toggle. Really a weird knife as far as the operation. It completely operates more like on a lever kind of action. So you get one of this. So you get, I can't even do it anymore. There you go. So the knife kind of opens that way. Basically, you press down, press up, press down, press up, and that's how the knife operates. I used to be able to do it in one hand. I can't do it anymore. But yeah, there is a way you can do it in one hand, but it is very uncomfortable. So you're pretty much better off doing it this way. The mechanism is what makes this knife so unique. It's also got a belt clip on there, right on the knife. I've never seen that. Basically, you hook that on to your, I guess, your jeans or whatever it is that you want to do that to. One of the reasons why I like the knife is because it's got that erector set look. You know, every time I see this knife, it reminds me of like an erector set that I had when I was a kid. So I'm not actually a millennial, as you guys have guessed. I'm an older guy, so. It's also got a lock for safety. Kershaw back then had a lot of knives, a lot of locks on them for safety. They did away with that. I'm very surprised that they did not put that on their newer knives. For example, their automatic knives, the Launch series, does not have a lock on it. I'm not comfortable with that concept. I like the idea that the knife actually has a lock on it, prevent it from opening, especially on an automatic knife, but that's just me. Kershaw toggle designed by G&G Hawk. That's Grant Gavin Hawk. He designed this knife for Kershaw. The knife actually came in a box with like a CD that tells you all about the knife and how to operate the knife. So, yeah, Kershaw toggle, really great piece. The next one is another Ken Onion classic. This is sort of the DLC coded version of it. This is called the Kershaw Storm. For a while there, this was like one of the favorite knives in the Kershaw lineup. It would probably be more along the lines of, like, say, the Kershaw Cryo, I guess. That was the Kershaw Cryo back then. Some of you guys might know that knife because they still sell it today, and it's not even discontinued. It's a little dirty over here. So, yeah. So Ken Onion came up with this design. It's got these, it's called the Kershaw Storm, and it's got like these cyclone or circular designs. It's supposed to be like a cyclone, I guess. It's on both sides of the knife, all the way throughout the whole theme on the knife. This is the black DLC-coated version of the Kershaw Storm. They also made a larger version of this knife. The steel on this knife is 14C28M. That's another thing about this collection. There are no Mauve 13s. I think I actually have one Mauve 13 in this entire collection, but other than that one knife, the lowest grade steel I have in my Kershaw collection is Sandvik 14C28N. That was the premier steel at that time, and they were putting it in all their knives. So, yeah. Ken Onion Storm. Forgot to mention also that on the Avalanche, the steel was a 440, CPM 440V steel. So in case you guys were wondering, sorry about that. On with the next knife. The next knife is another interesting one by G&G Hawk. Again, this is the Kirschon RAM. There's actually only one official video done on this knife by Bob from Knivestown. It's like done back in, I think, 2002 or something. This is also designed by G&G Hawk, same person that designed the Kershaw toggle, external toggle knife. Another thing that's interesting about this piece is the hawk lock right here. Now, what's interesting about this is that it doesn't lock the blade open, lock the blade close, it locks the blade open. So instead of having like a liner lock on a manual knife, they came up with the lock being right here on the side. So it's kind of a unique knife. Basically, you just sort of take it and the knife pops open, and then to close it, because this thing is locked open now, you can't close it. To close the knife, you actually have to pull on this lever down, and there you have it. Now it's closed. Another interesting thing about this knife is how light it is. The knife is made of all aluminum scales with G10. The entire knife weighs roughly about 6 ounces, I'm guessing. Maybe less than that. One of the great things about this knife is the flipper tab on it, the way it's angled at that 90-degree angle, if you can see that. It allows the knife to open practically effortlessly with no effort at all. So, Kershaw RAM, another rare knife from Kershaw, no longer easy to find anymore. The blade shape itself is something to talk about. I mean, if you look at it, it's kind of quite thick up at the top, and then it goes and thins out all the way towards the tip there for like very like piercing tasks or whatever. It's just really fantastic piece. Really hard to find one of these, Kershaw RAM. The next knife is another Ken Onion design, and this one's really one to talk about. This is the Kershaw Green Bump, a rare knife. They only made about, I think, 500 of these. I got serial number 243 out of 500, so it's not bad. What's interesting about this knife is that it is all titanium. Keep in mind, this is before the days of zero tolerance. All the high-end knives came from Kershaw, believe it or not. And a knife like this, you could see the pre-ZT design in this. This knife is a spring-assisted blade, by the way. It is not a manual knife. But what I love about this knife is the fact that you can see zero tolerance emerging from this one knife here. I mean, look how thick those titanium scales are on this knife. Really titanium, plus really thick on the titanium scales are, plus the design of that. I mean, look at that. It's got lines going this way on the knife. And then if I hold it up to the camera, you can see that the knife actually has also machined lines going this way. Also, it's almost like they actually had to create a special machine just to make this knife. I have no doubt it's probably sitting in a closet somewhere in a Kershaw factory, no longer being used, because they only use it to make one model knife, probably this one. But I can't imagine this being done by hand. It's just in mass production, no. But yeah, I can see this being a CNC machined, or early CNC machining knife, maybe back in the day. So, but yeah, the knife's got really thick titanium scales. The steel is S30V steel on it. Really interesting blade shape there. It's sort of like a cross between, I think it's like a recurved blade shape over there. Really amazing piece. This knife came out in 3 versions. It came out in green, it came out in blue, which I also have, and then it also came out in silver. All 3 versions came out in S30V steel. So, yep, there you go. The Kershaw Green Bump. Now, the last knife on this video is an automatic knife. Okay, this is called the Kershaw Robe, designed by R.J. Martin. This is a really big, beefy automatic knife, so that the spring comes in. I wouldn't say it's sluggish, but it's not as fast as you would expect it to be. But it does work very, very well. The most interesting thing about this knife is that it's got the Tech Trek on here, which Kershaw actually brought this material back, but in a different version, not quite so rough. This material here feels kind of like, you know, those green fake carpets they have in department stores. Probably that's what it feels a lot like, but it's really good for traction. The steel on this knife is 14C28N, you can see that. Also wanted to mention all the knives that you're looking at right now are all made in the USA, so that's kind of important. Once again, designer is R.J. Martin. The scales are all aluminum. It's got the black DLC coated standoffs there, really nice. A very rare automatic knife, no longer around. You probably still get one if you're lucky enough to find it. It's around somewhere. If you're lucky, someone might actually have it up on eBay, which is actually illegal. They're not supposed to have that. But someone might actually have it out on eBay. I would definitely grab it if you see it. I don't recall how much I paid for this piece, but it being a collectible, yeah, it would probably be up there. by now. One of the most interesting things about this knife is, again, they have a lock on the knife, which I love. The lock pretty much operates, if I can bring that up close to the camera, you can see that the lock has a sort of a curved opening there. What it does, it actually blocks this button from opening, so if I were to push it up, now you can't press on the knife. There's no way for it to eject. In order for it to eject, you have to pull the lock back down, and then you're ready to go. Really great. That's one of the things that I didn't like about the Launch series, that they took the idea of having safety locks on automatic knives. I really think they should put that back. But anyway, there you have it, the Kershaw Robe. So this is one of, I don't know how many series of Kershaw videos I'm going to do on my Kershaw Discontinued collection, but this is part 1. So I'll be back for more. Again, this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy, signing off, hoping you'll find this fantastic piece of sharp art in your collection. I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to do another video for you. You guys have a great night.